Hi everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to Kit Crunch. Now I want to say something right at the beginning of this video. If you are in a super good mood today, please don't watch this video because we're going to we're going to talk about something sad, something tragic. And then also too, this will be talking about faith, and if that's not something you want to hear, please skip this video. But if you want to be uplifted and see how sometimes you can remember people for what they really are, then this may be the video for you. And I'm going to try not to get weepy. I'm going to try not to bring out my tissues too often, but it is what it is. This is scrapbooking. Scrapbooking is a very powerful hobby. It's a way to remember things, and not everything is just sunshine and rainbows. No, it's not. So I'm going to try to get through this. I have started this several times, so I'm hoping I can build up and not get so weepy. Okay, so one of my lovely subscribers, Sharon, someone who has been with me from the very beginning, thank you, my lovely Sharon. She asked me that when I was showing this kit, she would like to see some of the faith-based papers used in this series for the month of April. So I thought, if Sharon asked, I'm going to do. Yes, absolutely. So I wanted to show that how I keep my papers in order when I'm working on a kit, and then also to my paper selection for this video today. Okay, so when I'm working with a kit, what I do is, of course, I keep my scraps in the front. Now, if this is a kit that is packaged away, I would keep my scraps in page protector. It just keeps them housed a little bit better, but I'm working with this kit for the next few weeks. So then what I do after that is that anything that I think is a story-based or a theme or, a specific topic, I put that in the front. So, of course, you can see my faith-based papers, okay? And then I just do everything. There's my specialty, and then I do everything by color. So when I'm working on my page today, I knew exactly what I wanted. Okay, so what I knew I wanted a faith-based paper because that's what Sharon had wanted to see. So I knew to go to this section first. And then, of course, I'm doing this about my Aunt Shirley, and there are just certain colors that remind me of my Aunt Shirley. So I wanted to go for that. And so, of course, I wanted to go with the green tone, something more earth tone, because a lot of my memories from my Aunt Shirley is from the 70s, and I kind of just associate that darker green because remember, the green appliances and the orange countertops in the 70s. Some of you are shaking your head. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this lighthearted because otherwise I'm going to sit here and cry through this whole video. Come on. Grab a tissue and let's go. Yes, okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, this is why we put these type of pages off, because we don't want to deal with it, but you have to. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about this real quick. Okay, so a year ago at this time, I was just starting my channel as far as learning software, planning my content, all the background work that needs to be done before you start a channel. And at that time, my Aunt Shirley and her husband, my uncle, and their grandson was involved in a tragic accident in which another person hit them head on, killed my aunt, killed their young grandson, and my uncle survived, thank God, but then the other driver passed away too. And so it was just a very tragic event for my family, a tragic event for the church community that my Aunt Shirley was involved in. It was just a tragedy for their grandson and their entire family. It was just tragic. And it was also, as my sister reminded me, it was tragic for the driver. He was a young person because his family had to deal with a loss as well. And so this is how the devil works, okay? This is how the bad forces work in your life, because as I was starting this channel, I hadn't even uploaded a video yet. I was just in the background working on this channel and the content, and this happened, and I thought, well, forget it. Just forget it. I don't feel like doing any scrapbooking. I'm not going to be sharing anything. I don't want to do any content. This just drug me down. And then I thought, wait, this is what we're taught in our faith. This is what happens when you want to do something positive. Those negative forces creep in, and you know what I'm talking about. So I said, no. What would my Aunt Shirley want me to do? And God love her. This was a godly woman. She was a wonderful person. She raised beautiful children as well. And so I thought, no, she would want me to go forward. She would want me to be happy. She would want me to share with others, and especially about faith, because she was a godly woman. A great woman, okay? Not that her life was perfect by any means. Lord knows it was not. So as I was working on my content for my channel, the backstory was my entire family was dealing with this tragic loss. And it was tragic, okay? But at the end of this video, I will show you how this tragic loss turned into something positive. And that's just how God works in our lives. Yes, can I get an amen? Okay, so thank you, Sharon, for the push to do this, because this has been difficult. It has been on my to-do list ever since my aunt passed away. All these thoughts of my childhood creeping in, all the positive things she did for me and other people. The pleasant, beautiful nature of this woman has been on my mind for a year, and this page has been something I wanted to do. So thank you, Sharon, for the push through the tears. That's what we had to do, push through the tears, because sometimes we have to do that to document. Now, I want to say something. I know I have some subscribers that are dealing with losses right now, the loss of husbands, the loss of children, the loss of some other things. And so this is what you have to do when you're dealing and scrapbooking with loss and pain and tragedy. Sometimes you just have to table it, and it will happen when it'll happen. This has just been absolutely a year to the day, and I'm still weepy, weepy, weepy. And I've already started this video probably 8 times. It's just what you have to do. So what I tell people when it comes to scrapbooking and you're doing the sad times, okay, and I'll go down a rabbit hole for a minute. If you do not want to scrapbook sad times in your albums, who says you have to? There is no rule. There is nobody who says you have to scrapbook the bad times, because we remember the bad times. Unfortunately, that's how our brain is wired. We kind of forget the good times, but the bad times never go away in our memory bank. So I'm the type of person, I do not scrapbook about a lot of bad, heavy, dark subjects in my albums, because I already remember them anyways, okay? But this is a personal hobby. If you want to scrapbook the bad times, the tragic events, and you want to get it all out there on paper, then that's exactly what you should do. But for me personally, I don't do a lot of that, because there's a lot of things I could talk about. There's just a lot of things I don't want people to read, even my own personal family. I just don't want them to read it when I'm gone, because they already basically know what has happened. I just don't go there. Okay, but if you're someone where that type of scrapbooking is therapeutic, then that's exactly what you should do. These are your albums, these are your memories, and don't you let anybody tell you what you should and should not scrapbook. And that was my rabbit hole. Okay, so when it comes to sad times, it is a personal thing. If you can sit down the next day, because this layout has been on my mind the day that my Aunt Shirley passed away, and it's now taken me a year to get to it, okay? And then also to the encouragement of my lovely Sharon, okay? So that's what I wanted to say. If it takes you a year to do that, that sad time, if it takes you a year, if it takes you 2 years, if it takes you 3 years to document that sad, tragic event in your life, the loss you're feeling, you know, when we lose fur babies, that feeling is just as raw as anything else. So if it takes you 5 years, 3 years, 6 months, 2 months, 3 weeks, that is your decision, and don't let anybody pressure you into one way or the other. And then also too, for me, from my angle, if I don't feel like scrapbooking something sad, I just won't, because I'm someone that if I get sad, I can stay sad. I can get sad very, very quickly, okay? And then I don't want to do that. Life is too short, because once I have time to think, I get myself in trouble. Yes, I can get in a hole and I can stay there for a couple hours. I don't want that in my life. No, I have too many things to enjoy. Yes, absolutely. So that was my rabbit hole, my little bit of a sermon there. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so what I decided to do for my lovely Aunt Shirley. Okay, now I will have another photo here of their grandson that passed away, and I do not have permission, and I don't feel comfortable showing that. But I will tell you what's special about this photo of their grandson that passed away. The photo that I have to share, he's holding his birthday cake. So, you know, there you are. You're scrapbooking a photo about a young child during a birthday, and it's about his death. It's just, that's how life works for us. So, what I decided to do is that I pulled this faith-based paper right here. Okay, now again, this is by the Reminisce line, and this is called Devoted Faith. It's called Risen. It's a beautiful paper, and if they would come out with this line again on heavier paper, I'd probably buy it again. This is thin paper, so I already know I'm going to have to back it with something heavy, and so this is faith-based, but then also too, I like the mood and the feel of this. This is more earth tone, more subtle, because that was my Aunt Shirley. She just someone that was quiet, in the background, but boy, she had an impact, okay? And then also too, I had this leftover scrap. It has music notes and then church and music, and her faith was a big part of her life. So I think I may incorporate that somehow. So I'm just going to keep that there. So then what will I use for a background? Well, I don't really want to do the blue. And so I took a cue from my Aunt Shirley. Okay, you know I'm always talking about mood and feel. Well, when I think of my Aunt Shirley, I think of her orange countertop, and I think of her green appliances from the 70s. That's just what I do. So I don't have orange in this. So I went to my greens, and then I picked this lovely Cartabella paper. This is from the Flora #1. That is the A side. I'm going to use this B, this green floral, because of course, look at the scarf that they used for a lot of her service photos. And so she had green in her scarf, and so of course the green that I think of her and her kitchen appliances. Yes, okay. Isn't it funny what you remember about people? Yes. And so I'm going to just take this piece of paper, I'm going to trim it down, as Shamel says, ever so slightly. Yes, I'm going to move these papers, okay? So I'm going to move that down ever so slightly. Yes, now I have this music here. But then I kind of like that. I may keep that. Okay, so that is my simple paper choices. It's going to be simple because my subject is tough. Okay, and so I'm going to use this as my background. I'm going to cut this down. Now, how will I know to cut this down? Well, you can see that the cross is the main focus of this faith-based paper. So I will be cutting from this down here on this side, and I will be cutting just a little bit, okay? But I want to see the green, and I will not be gutting this because this paper is so thin. Okay, beautiful, but thin. But those are my two papers. Here are my two photos, and then I also know that this layout is simply going to be called Aunt Shirley. Now, the alphas that I had in my kit, I know I wanted gold because that's what I'm going to work with. I'm going to work with green and gold, okay? Because that's what's shining through. And also too, that was what was in my kit. And so this is like a wood grain, and these this font and this feel is not what I wanted. Okay, so I did go, because this is a special layout. This is not just a run-of-the-mill layout. This is a special layout. So I did go to my inventory of things, and I did pick this font because I knew I wanted something gold and I wanted script. Okay, it's just about mood and feel. And so what I did was I went ahead and took off my letters, and it says Aunt Shirley, and that will be my title. And I may do it in an arch, or I may come down here. This will be something I will have to work on over a period of a couple of days. Okay, so when you come back, when you see the finished, there will be a couple of days probably transpired in between there, because this is tough. And every time I come back and I see this photo and I think of the day, I get sad, you know. But also too, as I pulled my papers for my kit, I'm also thinking, what do I want to translate? What do I want to reflect? Because everything I use on this page, I want to be intentional. I want it to be something that reminds me of my Aunt Shirley. Now, I did not know her grandson. You know, he was young. I did not know him. But I'm going to pair that photo with her because he was with her at the end. And then also, that was her life, so I want to include that. Okay, so what I did was I pulled my faith-based, these were found from Hobby Lobby, and this beautiful set, and this says Shine Your Light, and there was a song we sang growing up. It was Let Your Light Shine, and Let Your Light Shine for the Lord. So yes, I'm going to use that. That's just, yes, I'm going to use that. So then, of course, that introduced some white, and then that cork or that burlap. So I probably will use the dove and this flower, and you know, I'll just leave this out, you know, and there's the word Lord and things like that. And so that will be and I also have some green elements if I wanted to pull that in. And then of course I have the yellow crosses. I will probably get maybe one of those in. And then in that kit I also have these word alpha stickers, and so with that cross being that brown, and some of these being the wood, I will probably use one of these for the date or maybe a subtitle, so I'll use that. And then of course also too with these Tim Holtz Small Talk. Okay, now you would say to yourself, what are you going to pull from this small talk? Because this is about the year, okay, occasions. There are things that you can use that would go and emphasize this story, and it would be always and forever, I'm loving you. And then also to X's and O's, I love you, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Because I will tell you at the end why that is important when it comes to my Aunt Shirley. So I'm already going to pull that sticker off, and I'm going to put there, how sweet it is to be loved by you, because she was a very, very special person. Of course, our loved ones are very special. Okay, so, and I'll talk more about that. And so then also too, because of the wood that came from that faith-based sticker sheet, I definitely know I can pull in some wood veneers. And so this is how I'm going to start my page. I won't use cameras, I won't use feathers, and I will probably just use the hearts, because that's all I'm feeling right now is love. Yes, okay. Love for faith to get you through things, and love for my Aunt Shirley. Yes, and so I was asked my dad the other night, I said I wanted to do this layout, was it okay to use her name? He says, I think that would be great. So that just made me cry all over again, because you know, it's just a loss. The year is coming up in a day or two, and it's just been a tragic loss. But this is how I'm going to get through that day. I'm going to do this layout. Okay, so that is how you deal with a tragic event, a loss. You just push through. That's exactly what you do. And so, like I said, if it takes you 1 week, 1 year, 10 years, it's up to you. Don't let anybody tell you. And then also, too, if something is very bad and tragic, don't even put it in your album. You already know it. Why do you want to look at that? Why do you want to see a visual reminder of what that pain is? For some people, they do that in their albums, and that's therapeutic. But for me, I don't want to see it. I already know it. So again, I just wanted to talk about that subject. And I will have a video coming up later on, perhaps over the summer, talking more about this actual topic, about dealing with the bad things and the tragic things in life. Or maybe I'll just leave this video as that little bit of a little topic about that. Okay, so I will come back in a few days, and I will have this layout done. It's not going to be about design. It's not going to be about where the embellishments land. It's going to be simply about my Aunt Shirley and getting this this special person documented and put in my albums. Okay, so I will come back. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm back with my finished page, and even though this is a very simple page, it was still tough to do, still took time to do, because you're reflecting on things as you're working on this page. And that's why dealing with this type of topic and subject is therapeutic for people. And I will tell you, yes, it has been therapeutic to work on this, get some thoughts out of my brain, and also to on paper. Now, so what I simply did was I just cut that paper down, and then I put it on, of course, that Cartabella cardstock, because of the stability and also because of the green. Worked very, very well. Also, it worked well with my photo of my Aunt Shirley. And so I will add the photo here of her little grandson here on the right, and I matted both of those photos with this music paper. And this is what I want to say right now. When you're building a kit, and I know a lot of people struggle when you're building a kit, that you have no idea what photos you are going to scrapbook with that kit. And that was me in the beginning. I could not wrap my brain how I was to build a kit when I didn't have my photos in hand, but it works. And in this case, look how it worked. In this case, I had no idea that I was going to be scrapbooking this memory of my Aunt Shirley and this accident. And then to find, to know that this music paper was in this kit, and this is a huge part of my Aunt Shirley's life. I mean, it's amazing how that happens. And I'm just going to say that when you build a kit, do not worry about what photos you're going to use. It always, always works out. Amazing how that happens. And so you can simply see I have 6 embellishments. Yes, I have 6. Well, I mean, unless you count my 2 stickers, but I have 6 embellishments on this page, and that's all I need, because my main emphasis is the story, documenting this, spending some time talking about my Aunt Shirley, and then also to this beautiful design of this cross. And I will say what that is in case anybody wants to know. That was the Reminisce paper. It's called Devoted Faith, and this one was called Risen. Okay, now it is a thin piece of paper. You definitely will have to back it, and I backed it on a Cartabella paper called Petunia Patch Garland. Very, very pretty. And so then, of course, since this is my main design, this is my main embellishment, I needed to go minimal. So I just simply took a few pieces off this Hobby Lobby faith-based sticker sheet, and I simply just used, it says Shine Your Light, because that, I mean, again, I did not know when I put this kit together and used this. Of course, this is faith-based, but still, something so appropriate as Shine Your Light, because that was my Aunt Shirley. I mean, it's just amazing how that works out. So thank you, Jesus. And then, of course, I just, instead of the yellow crosses This was in my kit. It gave me a representation that I have these crosses. So I did go and I pulled from my own collection. I pulled... I just lost something here. Oh, there it is. I pulled the green ones because that's what I wanted, and that's what you do. When you want to do a page, just because it's in your kit, you don't have to use it. You can simply go get something else. And so then, of course, I added some wood veneer stars to go with the wood cross that's on my paper. So you can see, do I worry about visual triangles? No, but I did get a couple visual triangles, and I will tell you, as the more you do visual triangles, it becomes second nature. And so you see I have a cross here, and of course, my major cross right there. So that's just how it works out. And then also too, my gold is in a visual triangle. Didn't plan for that, but it will. And then I did add a couple stickers from that Tim Holtz occasion sticker pack, and it says how sweet it is to be loved by you. And then also too, at the end here of Aunt Shirley, it says focus on the good. And so I wanted to talk briefly. Oh wait, one more thing. Because of the influence of music and church life in my Aunt Shirley, what I did was I did not have any photo corners that fit my mood and feel, so I took this strip of paper, my 3/4 inch circle punch, and I made my own photo corners, again, using something that is part of my Aunt Shirley. And so then there's those music notes that I made into photo corners. I really like that special touch of this music paper. And again, I did not know. I mean, it's just how it works out. Now, with my journaling block, which it will go here, again, I'm going to use that music note as the mat for my journaling. And after I'm done filming, of course, I will be working on my journaling. And if I find that I may have more, which sometimes I get chatty, we all know that, I'm going to simply keep this piece of paper with this layout, because this layout's more important than any other thing I would probably do with this kit. So I will keep this piece of paper here with this layout until I'm done with the journaling, because in case I need more, okay? So that's what how I will fix that, okay? Because I don't want to have to go look for a scrap or a piece of paper, because this won't get put on until after I'm done doing a layout chair, that type of thing. So that'll be a couple months, so I have to plan that ahead of time. So I wanted to talk briefly about how God works in our lives, because my Aunt Shirley was someone who is always focused on other people. The first thing she always asks is, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you? She was always more focused about talking about you than talking about herself. That's just the way she was. And during the funeral service, everyone that spoke at her services, they said the exact same thing. I mean, everyone said the exact same thing. So I had said to my dad, you know it's the truth when everyone says the same thing. I mean, that's the truth. And then also, too, because of my Aunt Shirley's death, it resulted in bringing some people back together that hadn't been speaking or talking or in a family relationship. So I stood there and I was telling her children, I thought, wouldn't she be happy about that? So that's just how God works. And that's how, not only did I get to remember my Aunt Shirley for what she truly was, and then also I can smile, even though she's passed on. I can smile as to what she's still doing because of her faith and her kindness and her love for other people. I just find that amazing. Yes. So I will probably stop there. Thank you, Sharon, for the push to do this faith-based page. I'm absolutely happy with it. It has been therapeutic, even though I'm still weepy. It's been very therapeutic to do this. And of course, you can see when you're working on something like this, that's what you simply do. You just work through it, work on it. And if you have to table it for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, that's exactly what you do, because that's what I did. I had to keep working on it a few minutes at a time because I had to keep reaching for my tissues. So I did ask my hubby last night, I said, I know this isn't, an elaborate page or anything. I said, what do you think? And he said, I really like how you added that dove. So of everything I did, the non-scrapbooker picked out that lovely little dove that all I did was plop from a sticker sheet. And honestly, sometimes that's what you do. Absolutely. So thank you for coming along for this video, this start to finish, because this was different, okay? This was a different type of video, but in reality, and I know a lot of you are sitting there thinking this is part of life. This is exactly what we go through. This is part of our hobby, because we don't always get to live and relive the good times. It's sometimes reliving the sad times as well. So again, thank you for, putting up a little bit of weepiness, but That's real life, absolutely. And so scrapbooking is very powerful, very therapeutic, absolutely. So come back next week. We'll have another Kit Crunch video. It will be more lighthearted than this, I'm sure. So there will be a couple close-ups at the end and maybe a little ditty. So absolutely. So come back to RTS because you never know what we're going to do. Bye. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine for the Lord. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine for the Lord. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine for the Lord. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine for the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Absolutely. Okay.